Yes, sir. Okay, so the first thing you're going to do is make a horizontal line in the middle, but you're gonna make it very light because you're gonna erase most of this line. So make sure that is light. How light? Light enough that you can see, light enough that you can erase easily. And on that line, you're gonna have a point in the center, which will be your vanishing point. Okay? All angle lines will lead to that point. Okay? To keep it simple, we're gonna have a road go to the corners of the paper. So take your ruler, line it up to the point, and make a line going this way and another line going to the other corner. Yes, to the corners. And if you can imagine it, there's a road going off into the distance forever. You see that? All right. So now we're gonna make the curve, and the curve is the bump that starts in the street and bumps up into the sidewalk. So I'm gonna line up my ruler to the point, something like that. I'm gonna make a line. It's gonna make that. Okay, and do the same thing on the other side. What's with this thing? No sé qué- There we go. Same thing on both sides. And we have ourselves a curve. And next we do our sidewalk. Okay, so now we're gonna do the sidewalk, and the sidewalk is the same way as a curve, only wider. Like that, and like that. Okay? Okay. Moving on. We're gonna make the lines on the road. Okay? And normally you would say, oh, well, right down the center, right? But no, I'm actually gonna shift my ruler a bit into an angle like that. And remember the size. Okay? The same thing applies to the lines on the road. So when they're closer, they're bigger, and as they go off into the distance, they get shorter and closer together, like that. See that? So start long and get smaller as you go off into the distance. And then we're gonna do the same thing to the other side, because we're gonna make these lines a bit thick, because that's the way they are. Same way, same length, mirror image, until they touch each other and you can no longer do it. And then close it off with a horizontal line, like that. Like that. So see, now we have realistic lines on the road. Okay, now we're gonna do the lines on the sidewalk. And this is we keep our parallel lines to the horizontal line. So do you know what parallel lines are? So same thing as the lines on the road. They're gonna get closer to each other as they go off into the distance. Closer, and each time closer and closer, making sure my ruler is straight. See, use my horizon line to guide me. Horizon sounds a lot like Verizon. Maybe I should give a shout out to Verizon on YouTube. This drawing brought to you by Verizon Wireless. When you're here, your family. Y les mandamos saludos a la gente bonita de Cigarro High School, en especialmente la casa de Mr. Castillo. Saludos para Manuel, para Lisette, para Beyoncé y para toda la gente bonita. Saludos. And then I go freehand. Like that. See? An infinite. Okay, so now I'm gonna make a building here and another one here, several ones around. The way I like to start a building is with a vertical line, and I'm gonna make it easy. Start a line here where the sidewalk ends. This line begins. I'll make it about that high, and it's a vertical line, just a simple vertical line. Okay, once I'm done with this vertical line, I'm gonna make two horizontal parallel lines here and here, like this. Okay, and that's a wall. Okay, that's a wall. And then I'm going to erase this line that I told you to make very light. Because I no longer need it. And there is our wall. Are we good? Wait for the pass. There's somebody out. Now I'm going to make the wall that's facing the street. I would normally start over here, but you can see the sidewalk already made one line for me. So now I want to make the one up top. Starting here, lining my ruler from here to the vanishing point. Go like this. And I am not going to make the line all the way to the point. You know why? It's gonna look weird, and it's gonna look like it goes on forever. And I don't want my building to go on forever.
Unless it was a hallway.
Well, it will eventually run into some double doors, no? Like here?
Never. It's an endless loop of a hallway.
Well, maybe if you're in the Matrix.
Yes.
And then, of course, close it up with a vertical line, and then erase this line right here, and you got yourself a Lego looking building. Okay. All right, so before we go on to make some details here, before we start putting details, I'm gonna make more buildings so you can see how other buildings are done. Okay, so we're actually gonna make another building here twice as big as this one, And then we're gonna make a bunch of little buildings in the background. And then we come back and add some doors, some windows. Okay? So, over here, I'm gonna make another vertical line. And making sure my ruler is vertical, because I don't want a chueco building, a crooked building. And I'm gonna make this line actually as tall as I can go without exiting the paper, okay? And then once I make my vertical line, make my two horizontal lines here and here to close it off. So here we go. Right there. And right there. And then erase this line that I don't need. Okay. Moving on. Now, same thing as I did over here. Line up my ruler from this point to that point. And I want to make a line, making sure I don't go all the way, because if I go all the way, then again my building will go on forever, and I don't want it to go on forever. So I'll stop there, and then with a vertical line, bring it down. Making sure my ruler is vertical. I don't want a crooked line. All the way to the sidewalk, and there we go. Now we have a building twice as tall as the building in front. Okay? So this could be a Best Buy and this could be an HEB, or vice versa. Jordi Trevino. All right. So as you can see, these are your two main buildings, in which these two take up most of your space, and obviously they're going to have a lot of details. But you can still make buildings around, behind, that are behind these, or these ones are overlapping them, that can have some detail, but don't have to be as large. And I like to show you how to make these in 5 simple steps. All right? Call now, and I'll remove a step. All right, step number 1. Make a vertical line. Okay, you don't have to number this, but you want to. So line number 1 is a vertical line. Line number 2 is a horizontal line. And you can make these lines as wide as you want, but I don't recommend to make them as wide. Otherwise, these buildings are going to look gigantic. So that's line number 2. Line number 3 brings it down. So it's basically a rectangle standing there. We got 1, 2, 3, 4. Line number 4 is the one that goes to the point. Okay, and I think I did this too tall. But line number 4, it goes from this corner to the point with your ruler. And same thing, not too long. Yes, you can go. Don't take long. And then line number 5, you bring it down. See, and you just created another building back there. So now we got 3 buildings, see? And the same thing you can do on the other side. I'm gonna make it without the numbers, but see, line number 1, line number 2, line number 3, line number 4.
Can we make different shapes?
Yes. Line number 5.
See?
Yes. I've done circular. Here's a circular. Right? Or you can get inspired by actual buildings in actual cities. Right? Different shapes. Yeah, this is the simplest we can get, okay? And you can make a ton of small buildings, and they'll still be considered full-size buildings as part of the count for your grade, because they're still there. They're still there. Not as big as these, not as detailed, but they're there. Okay. Okay, time for some details. I'm gonna make a door and a window. Or you know what? I'm gonna make it on the other side because I already got bored doing it right here. So I'm gonna make a door, and I'm gonna start off with a vertical line, like that, making sure I go above the horizon line. Line up the top of the line to the vanishing point, making a small line there, and then bringing it down. So see, there we have a door. The window, la ventana, boys and girls, is very similar as the door, except I'm not going to start off the ground. I'm actually going to start a bit higher. Maybe there. Yes. The top and the bottom of the window line up to the point also, like this, and like that. And then you close it off, and voila, you got yourselves a window. Okay, and of course these are not detailed. You can add details. I can divide this in two and make double doors. Here's a handle, here's a handle. I can put the name of a business here. Right, I will obviously use better lettering than this. And of course, the more details you do, okay, it's the little details that are gonna count. Okay. Okay. But keep in mind, boys and girls, that all these angle lines lead to the vanishing point. All right. Even the windows of the buildings have to line up. See? Now the windows over here are different because this is not going to any vanishing point. So this will be just straight. Same thing over here. But over here, all these lines go to the vanishing point. So I can technically make more buildings like you did, sir, Roland. Make buildings here. Yeah, they go smaller. Now, if you could make him taller, right? But then I would recommend to make him thinner, because I could go high like this, but then make sure that this point lines up to this vanishing point, like that. See? And then finally, to end the class, I'm gonna make a garage door here, an open garage door. Make a line there. Make a line here. And then from here and here, make two horizontal lines, like there and there. And now you can actually go in there, like a garage door or a walkway or whatever. And like I said, your creativity is the only limit. And you can get inspired by actual buildings you see here, just like we did with Chick-fil-A, right? If you can, no. I mean, I was seeing a picture of it. Now, this is a 2-point perspective. Okay, you could technically do the same thing with a 1 point. All right. Well, that concludes today's activity.